Minnesota United fans. This is going to be the player ratings for Atlanta United 3, Minnesota United 0. Um, this is a midweek game, so we knew there was gonna be a lot of rotation with a game last weekend against Columbus and a game upcoming weekend, Pride Night, with the game against, I believe they play Philadelphia Union. But Vito Malone starts in goal. I can't say he's at fault for any of the three goals, but I will just add a note that I'm not convinced on his shot stopping capabilities yet. Seems to be a pretty solid average. I'd say actually a little bit above average goalkeeper. Definitely better with his feet than Bobby. I feel like Bobby might edge out a better shot here or there, save. But it could just be the old me remembering from bad teams that he was one of the better players on those teams, keeping us in a lot of games. So it'd be nice to maybe see Bobby get a little bit of action. Maybe he proves the manager wrong, but I can't say Vito was to blame for any of the goals. But giving up 3 goals tonight, I have to give him a 5 out of 10. It was a poor performance from the squad. Tonight, Ike Opara came in for Montier due to yellow card accumulation, and we missed Roman completely. You could tell we missed him defensively, and down that right side we had nothing going really offensively on that whole right side, where you usually see him and Finley or him and someone working real hard and always going up that right side. We really had nothing, not anything at all night. But Opara played there, and I mean he plays out of position. He's playing there out of position, more of a center back, and he actually drifts in at place a little bit of center back, and I'd say him, Boxall, and Coleman almost switch up a couple times during that game. But I'd have to give him a 5. Again, poor. I'd even just because he's out of position of 5, giving up 3 goals, and I mean compact defensively. He does. I can't say he's to blame for the first goal because Miguel gets caught in, but unfortunately we're just defending for our lives the whole time, and you could tell he was not comfortable playing in Roman's spot as much as Roman was. You could tell he's more of an out-and-out center back, so I would just give him a 5. Boxall, yeah, it's just I'll probably have to just give him a 5. Just was not very good tonight. Didn't offer. They're just defensively sound, and that's just about it until the end of the game, where we give up 2 goals at the end, and it's just poor. So yeah, I'll have to, even though we're going for it at the end, I'll still have to just give Boxall a 5. Coleman, I'll have to give him a 5. Which could be even more harsh on these guys, but we just really didn't get much going. There was a lot of defending for our lives almost. A lot of not knowing what to do and of sorts. And I'd say just Dotson was maybe one of our best defenders tonight as the rookie. Got beat a couple times, but was usually able to recover and either help out on his mistake or play quite well as his second MLS start. And yeah, I thought he did quite well. I'll just have to give him a 5.5, 6 maybe. Tonight he played really well for his second start, and I can remember a couple times him getting beat, but then also just being able to recover and pressure and maybe make them have a worse crossing or recovering. I did see him dispossess quite a few people, so yeah, I'd have to actually just give him a 6. He played the best defender out of the 4 tonight. Miguel was for a mistake for the first goal for sure. He's caught out of position. Really didn't offer much going forward. A couple times Had one shot in the first half that was pretty weak. Didn't really get a lot of power to it. Passenger of the ball really couldn't get Miguel going on the wing through the middle. Really nothing. Um, yeah, I'd have to just maybe give him a 5. It was poor. Jan Gregus played pretty well, I think. Um, One of the better performers in our team tonight, at least. I'd have to give him a 5.5. He was able to just distribute the ball all right, break up some play, get involved a little bit, just not as enough. Um, him and Schuler weren't able to find Abu or Darwin, or really, they were really not able to get much going against the midfield really wasn't. So Jan will get a 5.5. Ozzy as well, a 5.5. Just actually, I'll give him a 6 because as our captain, he does come in after the Rasmus Schuler gets absolutely two-footed, and he stands up for the player and talks to the referee and really is in his ear. I really wish Adrian Heath would have been up and at him up on the sideline about that. I really didn't know if he was because obviously he was in Atlanta, but I did not see it from what I saw on the television. He wasn't as angry as he should have been after that challenge. It should have been a straight red, and it was an absolutely horrendous challenge. And Ozzy knew that, and he talked to the ref, and the ref will go back and realize how he should be protecting the players more because it was awful. So I'll give him a 6 for standing up for the players, but him and Jan with about the same ratings. It really Ozzy was a little bit more defensive. He was compact, but really didn't break up the play as much as we liked. He really didn't get as forward as much as we liked when we're dictating the play. He's getting up more forward. He really just didn't do that tonight. But I'll give him that half score just for really being our captain and showing what a captain should look like. Um, Instead of what Calvo used to do and just laugh it off and kind of make a couple jokes here and there about it, but a little screaming. But Ozzy got up and professionally talked to the referee and in his ear and let him know, hey, that should have been a straight red and it was unacceptable. But Rasmus Schuler will be the last in the midfield. I think he played all right. Like everyone else, he really didn't do much. Got dominated. The midfield, I have to just give him a 5. Everyone was pretty poor tonight. Now this is where the real criticism comes in. So Abu Dalali starts up top, and after, like I said last week, he came on, and he actually had a good 20-some minutes last week. He was a pest, but and did what he needed to do. But tonight, his runs were all the same. Really did nothing. Fouled. Had a couple awful fouls. Picks up a yellow. Really offers absolutely nothing. And I don't understand why Heath gives Abu so much leeway. He gets all these opportunities, and after, I mean, I'm here to say I think I am going to call Abu Dhali a bust. I do not think he is cut out for the top level in MLS, at least not even close now. Everyone drafted around him. I think it was Gressel was drafted around him. A couple other players, maybe it wasn't Julian Gressel, but I know the Atlanta United player that was drafted by him, and 5 of the other players that were drafted around him were all contributing to the MLS team consistently on a regular basis, while Abu hasn't done. He had the one goal in LA. Didn't matter. We weren't doing anything other than that. Last year he offered literally nothing. Very few times he offered anything in his first year he had that first year where he was good, and other since then he has not done anything. And even though he has had poorer games, believe it or not, I've seen him play poorer games against Hertha Berlin. He had a worse game than he did tonight, and I don't know why we just don't he needs to be playing every single game for Forward Madison. We shouldn't. He next year, if we have him next year, he needs to just play a whole season of Forward Madison, have a U.S. Cup run, as they're playing right now against St. Louis. They might make it to the next round. Who knows? But as a loanee, he can't be playing as Mason Toy can't be playing for them in the cup, the Open Cup, the U.S. Open Cup, where the cup ties them. But yeah, Abu was awful, and I really want him to do good. I really do, because it's sweet when you go look back at those goals that he scored, and you thought you had something maybe, and now it just looks like an absolute utter shell of himself. I see I've seen high school players make better runs in the past. Um, it just he didn't have any It was just the same run maybe with a long ball. I just can't even fathom it. How Heath gives him so much opportunity, because when Mason Toy comes on, he just changed. We just looked a lot more. We looked way better going forward. It was night and day. But yeah, and Darwin. So Abu is gonna have to get. Uh, he gets subbed off in the 60 some minute. I'll give him a four. Four. Yeah, four. He was maybe a three, 3.5, four. So he was poor, very poor. 3.5 probably. And Darwin Quintero, um, I love the guy. He was our best player by far last year, but now we're seeing a little bit of this attitude. Him and Jan arguing about some free kicks taken the last couple weeks. Who's going to do what, and be throwing his hands up all the time. And we're seeing a little bit of this attitude that Club America talked about, and a couple other clubs would say that they saw over in Mexico and Club America. And I hope it turns around, because when Darwin's playing at his best, he is the best player on the pitch, most creative. Going forward, he really is. But right now, he's been very poor in the last few games, and he's playing more of an individual as a team, and you can see that. I'll have to give him a 4 out of 5 tonight. A little harsh, but I think it's deserved after the performance tonight and what's been going on. But on to the subs. Mason Toy comes on for Abu Dalali, and I think Mason changes the game a little bit, gives us a little bit more than just Abu, who was offering nothing. Was getting involved in a little bit of the play. Was in the right positions. The couple crosses didn't get to him, but he was in the danger areas, which is where you want to see him, and where they want to be able to get some opportunities to him. I mean, and it was just in places where Abu wasn't, and better places where we could maybe create a chance or two. So I'd say Mason Toy comes on, and I'd say he gets a 7 out of 10 tonight, as a sub. But other than that, I think that's about all I can give him. He comes on and changes the game for us in a good way until the defense falls apart at the end of the game. And then on to Rodriguez, Angelo, who comes on, and he does a little bit, gets involved a little bit in the play. Him, Toy, kind of were able to change it up a little bit. I'd say I'd give him a 6, because on the ball that was we maybe needed to go to VR, we needed some goal line technology. It was right around the 80th minute. It was a cluster in front of the net. Angelo puts it across when he could have maybe put a shot on target, but he hits it really hard across, and it really sometimes he's our striker. He just needs to be able maybe to shot off instead of putting it across. But because in the end we don't get the goal there, so I give him a 6. But him and Mason changed the game a little bit when they came on, and Finley comes on the end, works a little bit on the right. I just have to say, I guess give him a 5 out of 10. Worked well, but really didn't do a whole lot. Got a couple crosses in, and that's about it. He really didn't do a whole lot, so yeah, just have to give him a 5. And overall, poor performance from the boys, and I'm sorry for making it so long. It was pitiful to talk about, but as always, come on, you loons.